Yo, what's going on YouTube? And welcome back to Goal Line Hockey. It's your boy Kevin Forte, and we are taking a look today at a new series. Yes, we're kicking off our summer report series here for 2022. Going into the 2022-23 NHL season. Of course, we are doing this alphabetically as per usual, and we're starting off in the Western Conference with the Anaheim Ducks. So the Anaheim Ducks have kind of had an interesting summer. They didn't go crazy with their spending, but they did add in some key areas. And you also have to remember a lot of their prospects that they have been drafting over the past couple of seasons, one in particular I'm very excited for, are going to be coming into the lineup this season. So let's start off with some of the key additions to the Anaheim Ducks this summer. So the first one really was John Klingberg. That is the top new addition to the team. Signed him to a one-year deal. This is a guy that's coming in. He's going to probably be a top pairing defenseman and allow Jamie Drysdale to develop on the second pair for a little bit longer. He'll probably get traded at the trade deadline. No one cares about that. But that's a huge addition for them. Definitely beefing up their right side on the blue line. And again, not forcing Drysdale into a position he's not ready for. Love the move by Pat Verbeek. They also brought in Colton White as some blue line depth. You know, this is a guy that we're probably not going to see too much of. He's kind of a depth defenseman, might end up even in San Diego, but could potentially be a third pairing guy. Looking at some of the forward additions. Now, this first one is Mason McTavish. Mason McTavish is probably the guy I'm most excited for in the entire NHL next season. People have been glowing about how good Mason McTavish is, and is probably going to be, if things go correctly, and on script, which we know things don't always go that way, but Mason McTavish is probably the next number one center of the Anaheim Ducks and is kind of going to be, you know, the heir to the throne of what Ryan Getzlaf left in Anaheim. So Mason McTavish, the team captain for Team Canada in the World Juniors this summer. This guy is so good, and I'm really excited to see what he does at the NHL level. He's coming over from the OHL, and a lot of high expectations for him in the fall. Same thing, though, for a couple of Rangers. A pair of Rangers coming over to Anaheim this summer in free agency signings are Ryan Strome and Frankie Vetrano. Ryan Strome put up pretty decent numbers last year, and I think he feels kind of like, all right, the Rangers kind of dumped me off. So there's a chance for Strome. Can he prove that he is a second-line center, or at least probably a third-line center at this point? And I think there's a lot of competition there. He's probably going to play wing because the Ducks have so much good center depth. I'm looking at this team right now. You've got, Zegras, Henrique, McTavish, Strome, and Lundestrom. Those are five guys in the top three lines that can play center, right? So right now they have it as Zegras, Strome, and Lundestrom as your top three centers, and having Henrique and McTavish on the wing. I do like that. I think that we've seen teams around the league do that. Tim Stützle recently with Ottawa, a natural center playing on the wing that first year. This is not the first time we've seen that. Allow guys to develop on the wing, and then once they're able to take on the responsibilities of center, then they could get to that spot. And I think they're going to do that here with Mason McTavish. So very exciting. I think that's a pretty solid second line. Like that second line, just boom. A line that wasn't there last year that is now there, and your second line. I think that's a huge group for them. Vetrano is a guy that reminds me a lot of Corey Perry, and now he's playing in Anaheim, so I think there's a lot of similarities there. I hated him there in New York with the Rangers, but I think he's going to fit in perfectly with the Anaheim Ducks and what they're trying to do. So a really nice addition there. Also take a look at Lucas Dostal, who is a goaltender that I think is going to start as the San Diego Gulls starting goaltender, but there is still some questions about Anthony Stolarz. Will he be the backup? Because I think there's some argument to be made who could be the backup there. Could Stolarz be overthrown by Dostal? Maybe. Or does Pat Verbeek look at it in the sense that we'd rather see Dostal play 40, 50 games in the AHL than say 20 to 30 games in the NHL? Because the starter, nobody's probably beaten him out this season, and that's John Gibson. And that's what I want to get to today, because we're going to talk about the goals against last season. Their goals for was 22nd in the league last year. they're going to have some more scoring power on this team with guys like Strome and guys like MCTAVISH. I think there is some reason for hope there. And this group looks a lot better. I hate to say it, seeing guys like Silverberg, Comtois, Jones in the bottom six shows that they've grown in their forward core in their top six, and I think that's a good thing. But the problem is, and I think this is one of their weaknesses, is the blue line. Looking at their blue line right now, this is their top four: Cam Fowler, Jamie Drysdale, Jaro Vakkainen, and John Klingberg. And if I have to be completely honest, only two of those four defensemen I mentioned are really top four defensemen. And you could argue Cam Fowler is, but I'm not really a fan of how he's been recently in Anaheim. And his contract hurts that a little bit, but I think that this Ducks team lacks some defensive depth. I don't really like Vakkainen all that much. I'm not a huge fan of Simon Benoit. And Kevin Shattenkirk is Kevin Shattenkirk. He had a decent season last year for the Ducks, a good veteran presence. But let's be honest, a Stanley Cup contending team probably isn't going to have Kevin Shattenkirk on the blue line. And that's where I think the Ducks' biggest weakness is. They've got great goaltending in between the pipes. I like what the Ducks have there. But this has been a problem. Their goals for last year, bottom 10 in the league. Goals against, bottom 10 in the league as well. So I think that their defensive struggles will continue this year, even with the addition of Klingberg and another year of Drysdale. I think that's going to be a problem for them. But I think there will be more scoring out of the Ducks. They didn't score very much last season, and I think there's going to be a slight uptick for the Ducks, maybe closer to the league average in terms of goals for next season. With all of that said, do I think the Ducks make the playoffs in 2023? No. I do not think they make the postseason. Now, I do think there's more hope for them in that they could, because you look at what happened last year. That Pacific Division's a little bit weird. I do have them, though, finishing 6th in that Pacific Division. I think, a team like Vegas and Vancouver are really the competition that would be going on for Anaheim, and I just don't think they're better than those two teams. And you also have to remember the fact that I think those two teams being better also makes it harder for Anaheim, and maybe they won't be as good as they were last year. Again, they did have some promise, especially early in the season. There was a lot of good vibes in Anaheim. I think we're going to see a similar story to that this season, and I think ultimately they do come up short. But let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. What do you think of the Anaheim Ducks this season? And guys, stay tuned, because I am starting this summer report series. We are team 1 of 32, so I have 31 more videos going over the entire National Hockey League. So stay tuned for that. And as always, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you again next time.